Assalamu alaikum. At this time, we'd like to go ahead and start the English Majlis. We kindly invite everybody in the outside hall into the main hall at this time, and we're going to be starting with Hadith Kisa recited by Brother Hasnain. Please recite aloud, Sarvat. I apologize. We're first going to have a Surah Fatiha recited by Brother Ali. Sarvat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين صدق الله العلي العظيم صلوات.
Thank you for that beautiful recitation. Please recite aloud, Sarvat. Next, we're going to have a Hadith Kisa recitation in English by Brother Hasnain. Sarvat.
In the name of Allah, the All-Merciful, the All-Compassionate. Fatima Zahra, the daughter of the Prophet, peace be on them, have thus related an event. My father, the Prophet of Allah, came to my house one day and said to me, "Peace be on you, Fatima." I replied, "And upon you peace." Then he said, "I feel weakness in my body." I said, "Allah protects you from weakness, father." He said, "Fatima, please bring the Yamni cloak and cover me with it." So I brought the Yamni cloak and covered him with it. Then I looked at him and saw that his face was shining like a full moon with its glory and splendor. After a while, my son Hassan came in and said, "Peace be on you, mother." I replied, "And upon you peace, O light of my eyes and the delight of my heart." He then said, "Mother, I smell a fragrance so sweet and so pure as that of my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah." I replied, "Yes, your grandfather is lying underneath the cloak." Hassan went near the cloak and said, "Peace be on you, my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you?" He replied, "And upon you peace, my son, and the master of my fountain Kauthar. You are given the permission to enter." So Hassan entered the cloak with them. After a while, my son Hussein came in and said, "Peace be on you, mother." I replied, "And upon you peace, O light of my eyes and the light of my heart." He then said, "Mother, I smell a sweet fragrance like that of my grandfather, the Prophet of Allah." I replied, "Yes, your grandfather and your brother are lying underneath the cloak." Hussein stepped towards the cloak and said, "Peace be on you, my grandfather, the chosen of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you?" He replied, "And upon you peace, my son, and the intercessor of my followers. You are given the permission to enter." So Hussein entered the cloak with them. After a while, Abu Hassan Ali bin Abi Talib came in and said, "Peace be on you, O daughter of the Prophet of Allah." I replied, "And upon you peace, O father of Hassan and the commander of the faithful." He then said, "Fatima, I smell a sweet fragrance like that of my brother, my cousin, the Prophet of Allah." I replied, "Yes, he is underneath the cloak with your two sons." So Ali went near the cloak and said, "Peace be on you, Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you?" He replied, "And upon you peace, my brother, my legatee, my successor, and my standard bearer. You were given the permission to enter." So Ali entered the cloak with them. Then I stepped forward and said, "Peace be on you, my father, O Prophet of Allah. May I enter the cloak with you?" He replied, "And upon you peace, my daughter, O part of myself. You are given the permission to enter." So I entered the cloak with them. Getting together underneath the cloak, my father, the Prophet of Allah, held the two ends of the cloak and raised his right hand towards the heavens and prayed, "O Allah, these are the people of my household, Ahlul Bayt. They are my confidants and my supporters. Their flesh is my flesh, and their blood is my blood. Whoever hurts them, hurts me too. Whoever displeases them, displeased me too. I am at war with those at war with them. I am peace with those at peace with them. I am the enemy of their enemies, and I am the friend of their friends. They are from me, and I am from them. O Allah, bestow your blessings, benevolence, forgiveness, and your pleasure upon me and upon them, and remove impurity from them and keep them thoroughly pure. Then the Lord Almighty Allah said, O my angels, O residents of my heavens, verily I have not created the erected sky, the stretched earth, the illuminated moon, the bright sun, the rotating planets, the flowing seas, and the sailing ships, but for the love of these 5 lying underneath the cloak. Jibril, the trusted angel, asked, Who are under the cloak? The Almighty answered, They are the household of the Prophet and the assets of prophethood. They are Fatima, her father, her husband, and her 2 sons. Jibril said, O Lord, may I fly to earth to be the 6th of them? Allah replied, Yes, you are given the permission. Jibril the trusted landed near them and said, Peace be on you, O Prophet of Allah. The All-Highest conveys his peace on you and his greetings and says, By my honors and glory, O my angels, O residents of my heavens, verily I have not created the erected sky, the stretched earth, the illuminated moon, the bright sun, the rotating planets, the flowing seas, and the sailing ships, but for your sake and love. God has given me permission to enter the cloak with you. May I join you, O Prophet of Allah? The Prophet replied, And peace be on you, O trusted bearer of Allah's revelations. You are granted the permission. So Jibril entered the cloak with us and said to my father, Allah sends his revelations to you. Verily Allah's desire is to remove blemish from you, O people of household Al-Bayt, and purify you with a perfect purification. Then Ali said to my father, O Prophet of Allah, tell me what significance has Allah given for getting together underneath this cloak? The Prophet replied, By him who rightfully appointed me a prophet and chose me a messenger for the salvation of mankind. Whenever and wherever an assembly of our followers and friends mention this event, Allah will bestow on them his blessings and mercy. And angels will encircle them, asking Allah the remission of their sins until the assembly disperse. So Ali said, Verily by the Lord of Kaaba, we and our followers are the winners. Then my father replied, By him who rightfully appointed me a prophet and chose me as a messenger for the salvation of mankind. Whenever and wherever an assembly of our followers and friends mention this event, there shall remain none grief, but Allah will remove his grief. There shall remain none distress, but Allah will dispel his distress. There shall remain none wish seeker, but Allah will grant his wish. Ali happily said, Verily by the Lord of Kaaba, we and our followers are the winners and the blessed, in this world and the next.
Thank you, Brother Hassan, for that beautiful recitation of Hadith Qissa. Please recite aloud salat for him. Next, we're going to have a salam recited by Brother Muhammad. Please recite aloud salat.
King of martyrs, O Imam of man and jinn, Mawla Hussain, Sayyidul Shuhada, Imam al-Insi wal Jinnah Hussain. Marhaba ya Aba Abdullah, ya Aba Akbar Hussain, Warithul Adam Abul Ahrar Imami ya Hussain, father of infant Abdullah and Ali Akbar Hussain, O inheritor of Adam, father of freedom Hussain, King of martyrs, O Imam Min and Jinn Mawla Hussein Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Insi wal-Jinna Hussein Annaka qamta as-salah Annaka atayta az-zakah قد أمرت بالمعروف ونهيت المنكرات You established prayer and gave your everything in charity You enjoined what was the right and forbade iniquity King of martyrs, O Imam of men and jinn Mawla Hussein Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Insi wal-Jinna Hussein Al-Hussein minni qala وأنا من الحسين أنت سيد أهل الجنة والسفينة يا حسين Mustafa said you are from me I am from you O Hussein Prince of paradise you are a sanctuary, O Hussein, King of martyrs, O Imam of men and jinn Mawla Hussein, Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Insi wal-Jinna Hussein, Marhaba ya Sarallah Khiratallah Mustafa Anta nafsul mutmainna Anta misbahul huda Your avenger is Allah Your selector is Allah Your contented soul, a lamp of guidance in every era. King of martyrs, O Imam of men and jinn Mawla Hussein. Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Insi wal-Jinna Hussein. Assalamu alayka ya ibn al-Mustafa wal-Murtada Marhaba ya ibn Khadija Nur Ayn al-Fatima Salutations to the son of Mustafa and Murtada Marhaba son of Khadija and the heart of Fatima King of martyrs, O Imam of men and jinn Mawla Hussein Sayyid al-Shuhada Imam al-Insi wal-Jinna Hussein Salawat.
Please recite loud Salawat. Just a few quick announcements. We kindly request everyone to please move up a little closer to the minbar for proper Majlis etiquette. We kindly request the sister section to settle down as well as the Majlis is in progress. And we kindly ask everyone to please put their phones on silent or turn off during the Majlis to avoid disturbance. Without further ado, I'd like to invite Sayyid Bilal Rizvi to the minbar to address the majlis with a loud salawat.
صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على
سورة المباركة الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على إمام القبلتين ونبي الحرمين وأفضل الثقلين وجد الحسن والحسين الذي سمي في السماء بأحمد وفي الأرض بأبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الصادقين والذين ذهب الله عنهم الرجس وطهرهم تطهيرا. اللهم صل وسلم وزد وبارك على صاحب الدعوة النبوية والسولة الحيدرية والإسمة الفاطمية والحلم الحسنية والشجاعة الحسينية والعبادة السجادية والماطر الباقرية والآطار الجعفرية والعلوم الكاذمية والحجج الرذبية والجود التقوية والنقابة النقبية والحيبة العسكرية والغيبة الإلهية. اللهم عجل فرجه وسهل مخرجه. أما بعد فقد قال الإمام الحجة ابن الحسن العسكري في زيارة الناحية المقدسة: فلا أندبنك صباحا ومساء ولا أبكين لك بدل الدموع دماء حسرة عليك وتأسفا على ما ضحاك وتلهفا حتى أموت بلوءة المصاب وغصة الاغتيام. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. For the love of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the love of Fatima az-Zahra in particular, a second salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the hastening of the reappearance of the master of our time, a louder salawat ala Muhammad. If one were to examine the traditions of Ahlul Bayt alayhim as-salam, they'll find that a great overwhelming emphasis has been placed upon the mourning over Sayyid al-Shuhada and those sacraments associated with the mourning of Sayyid al-Shuhada known as Ash-Sha'air al-Husayniyah. In one such tradition found in Kamil al-Ziyarat, Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq makes a dua for the zawar of Sayyid al-Shuhada and those who mourn over Sayyid al-Shuhada. And within that dua, Imam al-Sadiq goes to demonstrate that when it comes to these different sacraments of mourning, there are different levels and there are different aspects of these different sacraments. The Imam in this dua, he says, فَارْحَمْ تِلْكَ الْوُجُوهَ الَّتِي غَيَّرَتْهَا الشَّمْسِ. that may Allah have mercy upon those faces that were changed by the sun when they went on the ziyarah of Sayyid al-Shuhada. You see, this act of one's body being impacted by the journey is something which is passive. We can't control this act. But when it comes to this act, Imam as-Sadiq is praying for mercy to come upon that person, because that individual made the intention of the ziyarah of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Then after that, the Imam says, وَرَحَمْ تِلْكَ الْخُدُودَ الَّتِي تَتَقَلَّبُ عَلَى حُفْرَةِ أَبِي عَبْدِ اللَّهِ عَلَيْهِ السَّلَامِ. That may Allah have mercy upon those cheeks that turn themselves on the grave of Sayyid al-Shuhada. وَارْحَمْ تِلْكَ الْأَعْيُنَ الَّتِي جَرَتْ دُمُوءُهَا رَحْمَةً لَنَا. And may Allah have rahmah upon those eyes that cry out of mercy for us. وَارْحَمْ تِلْكَ الْقُلُوبَ الَّتِي جَزَأَتْ وَاحْتَرَقَتْ لَنَا. And may Allah have mercy upon those hearts that have anguish and they burn out of sorrow for us. وَارْحَمْ تِلْكَ السَّرْخَةَ الَّتِي كَانَتْ لَنَا. And may Allah have mercy upon those screams which are let out for us. You see, within this dua, each of these represented a different stage of mourning. And Imam as-Sadiq goes to show that each of these different states are something which is sanctified. And when you examine all of these different traditions about the sha'air of Sayyid al-Shuhada and the musibah of Sayyid al-Shuhada, without a doubt, one of those most famous lines are those lines found in Ziyaratul Nahiyat al-Muqaddasa, where the Imam says, فَلَا أَنْدُبَنَّكَ صَبَاحًا وَمَسَاءً. That, O Imam al-Hussein, I wasn't able to be there with you, but in return, every morning and every evening I cry. Then after that, the Imam says, وَلَا أَبْكِيَنَّكَ وَلَا أَبْكِيَنَّ لَكَ بَدَلَ الدُّمُوءِ دَمَاءً. But I don't cry regular tears, but I cry blood for you, O Sayyid al-Shuhada. Then after that, the Imam, he continues. He says, Ya Imam, hasratan alayka wa ta'assufan ala ma dahaka wa talahufan hatta amuta bi law'at al-musab. And this sorrow and this anguish continues in me until I die out of that musibat for you, until I choke out of that grief for you, O Hussein. You see, this ziyarah known as Ziyaratul Nahiyah is amongst the most famous of the ziyarat which come from the 12th Imam and which are about Sayyid al-Shuhada. And what I want to do in tonight's majlis is examine the significance of Ziyaratul Nahiyah as a historical source for the masayib of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Because this is that ziyarah that it does not mention the musibah of Hussein from the tongue of any khatib or any orator. But this is the masayib of Sayyid al-Shuhada from the grandson of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And none knows the masayib of Hussein like the one who is the grandson of Hussein. But before I come into the crux of the analysis, there are many preliminary discussions that need to be had. Because the moment the moon of Muharram is sighted until the end of Muharram, you find that there are many questions that are asked about the aza of Sayyid al-Shuhada. That people ask the question that which of these actions that we carry out in the majalis, which of these are mentioned within the hadith and which of these come afterwards through historical development? Which of these actions do we have a principle for, and which of these actions bi'ayn dhatihi that the Imams performed? And people ask the question, did all of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt mourn in the same manner? Or was there a development from the time of Imam Zainul Abidin on to the latter Imams? You see, when it comes to this discussion of Ziyaratul Nahiyah, the first thing which we need to understand is that when it came to the mourning of Sayyid al-Shuhada, that from the time period of the day of Ashura until the beginning of Ghaibatul Sughra, there is a development which is taking place. And many ulama and historians have written about this, whether this is Ayatollah Muhammad Shamsuddin or Sheikh al-Karbasi. But you find that amongst this summarized version of their discussions, the first point to note is that when it comes to the development of Aza, the first period of development was from the event of Ashura to the uprising of Mukhtar al-Thaqafi. Because within this time period, which contained the imamat of Imam Zainul Abidin, you find that this was the preliminary stage of the Aza of Sayyid al-Shuhada. You see, the first feature of this preliminary stage of Aza is that we find that emotion connected with the Masayib of Hussein, and that emotion which was demonstrated by Imam Zainul Abidin and the women of Karbala. You see, those today who say the majlis should be an academic institution and the majalis should not be an institution of emotion, I say these voices are the loudest in front of the common man. That if you want to voice these concerns, come towards the specialist in Islamic studies. Because when you examine the history of majalis, at the core of majalis is that emotion and those tears for Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. That in reality, this azab began in Karbala and before Karbala as well, when Rasulullah would inform about Sayyid al-Shuhada. That when Sayyida Zainab, it's written in Tarikh al-Tabari, one of the oldest sources for the Masayib of Hussein in volume 5. The narrator is Qurra bin Qais. He says that I'll never forget the lines of Zainab at the body of her brother. And what were those lines? Those were those lines where she says, Ya Muhammada, Ya Muhammada. هذا الحسين بالعراء مرمل بالدماء مقطع الأعداء. That she says, O Rasulullah, that this is your Hussein in the desert. And this is your Hussein who is covered in blood. So you find from this first period of mourning, we find that emotion. And number two, we find that Ahlul Bayt would create a level of consciousness about who Sayyid al-Shuhada was. That when Imam Zainul Abidin would mourn, and they would place water in front of Imam Zainul Abidin, and the Imam would cry and he would say, Qutila Abi Atshana, that my father was killed thirsty. Or when there would be a butcher and he would say to that butcher, did you give water to this animal? Did you feed this animal? Did you sharpen the sword? The man would say, we are Muslim. Imam Zainul Abidin would say that when my father was killed, neither did they give him water. Neither did they give him food. Neither did they sharpen the sword from 70 paces my Aunt Zainab would watch. You see, one of the philosophies in this early period of mourning, besides that emotional grief, was that Imam Zainul Abidin wanted people to be aware of the event of Karbala. That's why Imam Sadiq in Kamilu Ziyarat would say about Imam Zainul Abidin, Kana Jaddi Ida Dakarahu Baka Hatta Tamla'a Ainahu Lahyata. That my grandfather Zainul Abidin, that when he would remember his father, he would cry to the point that his beard was covered within his tears. Hatta yabkiya rahmatan lahu man ra'ahu. And anyone who would look at Imam Zainul Abidin, they would cry out of rahmah for Imam Zainul Abidin. So you find in this initial period, number one, we see that emotional grief. Number two, we see those tears which are bringing consciousness. But number three, from the very onset of Azah, we find that the poets had a place in the recitation of poetry. Abul Faraj al-Isfahani in Maqatul Talibiyin, he would say that Ummul Banin would gather in Jannatul Baqi. And when Ummul Banin would gather in Jannatul Baqi, she would recite lines of poetry and the people would gather around her. So we see that poetry is being recited, and we see the form of a gathering. And another tradition says that for every day after the day of Ashura for the first year, the women of Banu Hashim would gather, they would wear black, and Imam Zainul Abidin would give food at those gatherings. So from the onset in this early period, we find the wearing of black was emphasized when it came to the mourning of Sayyidul Shuhada, and we find that the concept of tabarruk and giving food at those gatherings was there. But after we move from this first period to the period of Imam al-Baqir and the subsequent Imams, we begin to see a development. Whereas the period of Imam Zainul Abidin was the period of laying the foundation, the period of Imam al-Baqir, Imam al-Sadiq, Imam al-Qadim, and Imam al-Rida in particular, was the period when there was a profound emphasis upon the azah. That number one, Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq would speak about the reward of mourning over Sayyidul Shuhada. They would speak about the reward of the ziyarah of Sayyidul Shuhada. Number three, they would encourage the poets to recite lines of poetry over Sayyidul Shuhada. And number four, they would encourage gatherings within the home as well. In one tradition, Abu Salih bin Uqba, he narrates from Imam al-Baqir that the Imam said that go and do the ziyarah of my Jad Hussein on the day of Ashura. And the one who does a ziyarah on the day of Ashura, it's as if he has performed 2,000 Hajj, 2,000 Umrah, and fought 2,000 battles, maqboola ma'a Rasulullah wa ahli baytihi. That this Hajj, this Umrah, isn't like a regular Hajj or an Umrah. This is that Hajj you performed with Rasulullah, with the Ahlul Bayt of Rasulullah. At that point, the narrator says, فَمَا لِمَنْ كَانَ فِي بُعْدِ الْبِلَادِ وَأَقَاسِيَ وَلَا يُمْكِنُ الْمَصِيرُ إِلَيْهِ. What about that person who is not able to be in Karbala? Imam al-Baqir says for that person, on the day of Ashura, before the time of Dhuhr, he should send salam upon Sayyidul Shuhada in an open field or upon a terrace within his home. Number two, he should send la'an upon the killers of Sayyidul Shuhada. And number three, he should recite 2 units of prayer before the time of Dhuhr. Then the Imam says, وَيَبْكِيهِ, and he should cry over Imam al-Hussein. وَيَأْمُرُ مَنْ فِي دَارِهِ بِالْبُكَاءِ عَلَيْهِ, and he should command those who are within his house to cry over Sayyidul Shuhada. That Imam al-Baqir would encourage a form of majalis taking place within the home of a person. And then he says, وَيُقِيمُ فِي دَارِهِ مُصِيبَتَهُ بِإِدْهَارِ الْجَزَيِّ عَلَيْهِ, and he should establish the musibah of Sayyidul Shuhada within his home. So we see that in the time period of Imam al-Baqir and the subsequent Imams, we find that the virtue of mourning is emphasized, and the virtue of ziyarah is emphasized. We find that the etiquettes of the day of Ashura are mentioned, and we find an emphasis is placed upon mourning within the home. But the other thing that we see in the time period of Imam al-Baqir is that while the poetry of the time period of Imam Zainul Abidin was in the style of Arabic poetry, in the time of Imam al-Baqir and Imam al-Sadiq, we begin to see a style of poetry develop which is maqsoos to the zikr of Sayyidul Shuhada. For example, an individual by the name of Abu Harun al-Makhfuf, he comes to Imam al-Sadiq. The Imam says, Anshidni fi Hussein, that recite poetry for Hussein. When he recites that poetry, Imam al-Sadiq says, Oh Abu Harun, don't recite like this. Anshidni kama tunshidun, recite in the way that you will recite, ya'ni birrikka, that with sorrow recite over my grandfather. And another tradition would say, kama tartihi inda qabrihi, that when you recite poetry for my Jad Hussein, recite as if you're standing over the grave of Sayyidul Shuhada. You see, the first adab of Marsiya Khani or Noha Khani is that a person recites as if he's standing by the grave of Imam al-Hussein. So you find there's many traditions within this time period, and I've left many of the traditions because this was just the introduction to Ziyaratul Nahiya. The next development that we see in the time of Imam al-Qadim and Imam al-Rida is that the mourning period was expanded to 10 days. This idea of an ashara, it develops in the time of Imam al-Qadim and Imam al-Rida, where Imam al-Rida, he states that when I would look at my father from the first of Muharram, I would see him in mourning, and this mourning would continue until the day of Ashura. But as you examine these traditions, we find that the culmination of the details of Musibah, without a doubt, it occurs in Ziyaratul Nahiyat al-Muqaddasa. Because the amount of details that we find in Ziyaratul Nahiya, we don't find this amount of detail from any of the other Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Yes, Imam al-Rida says that my grandfather Dhubiha kama yudbahul kabsh, that he was slaughtered in the way a sheep is slaughtered. But he doesn't describe it like Imam al-Zaman. He doesn't say as-salamu ala al-juyub al-mudarrajat. That salam be upon the blood-covered chest of Hussein. As-salamu ala shifa'i dhabilat. And salam be upon the dried lips of Hussein. As-salamu ala ru'us al-mufarraka anil abdan. That salam be upon those heads which were separated from the body. You see, this type of detail we don't see in any other hadith, we don't see in any other ziyarah. You see, when it comes to Ziyaratul Nahiyat al-Muqaddasa, the first point of analysis is that there are two different ziyarat called Ziyaratul Nahiya. The first ziyarah called Ziyaratul Nahiya is that ziyarah where it is stated that you stand by the grave of Imam al-Hussein, and in particular you stand by where Hazrat Ali Akbar is buried. And when you stand over there, you send salam upon Ali Akbar, you send la'an upon the killers of Ali Akbar alayhi salam, and in this manner Imam al-Zaman, he names each of the shuhada and the names of the killers of each of the shuhada. Many people ask us, is that how do we have an exact historical record of those who were martyred in Karbala? And how do we have an exact historical record of who the killers of these individuals were? One of the answers is that this is mentioned within that ziyarah known as Ziyaratul Nahiya. But the second ziyarah known as Ziyaratul Nahiya is that ziyarah where Imam al-Zaman, he sends salam upon 23 of the Anbiya, then he sends salam upon Rasulullah, Amir al-Mu'mineen, Janab Zahra, Imam al-Hasan, and then he begins to mention the Masayib of Sayyid al-Shuhada. You see, many people, the second point of analysis is that many people ask that what is an-Nahiyatul Muqaddasa? That when you say Ziyaratul Nahiyatul Muqaddasa, what exactly does this term mean? You see, we have many hadith that prohibit the individuals and the followers of Ahlul Bayt from taking the name of Imam al-Zaman. For example, in one hadith, a person comes to Imam al-Sadiq, and Imam al-Sadiq, he is asked that what is the status of the 12th of Ali Muhammad? And the Imam, he replies by saying, Man aqarra bil a'immati alayhimus salam wa ankara al-Mahdi ka man aqarra bil anbiya wa ankara Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. That the one who believes in the Imams but rejects Al-Mahdi is like the one who has believed in the Anbiya but he's rejected Rasulullah. Then the Imam says, don't take his name. Another tradition says, Inna sahiba hadal amal la yusammihi illa kafir. That only a kafir will take the name of the 12th Imam. Now you see, amongst ulama, there were two groups when it came to interpreting this tradition. One group said that you should never take his name. But the more popular opinion, especially amongst the mutakhirun and the latter scholars, is that this prohibition was for Ghaybatul Sughra and the beginning of Ghaybatul Kubra. Because in that time period, the life of Sahibul Zaman was in danger. And in that time period, when it wasn't allowed to take the name of the 12th Imam, people would address the 12th Imam by taking his titles. They would say that As-Sayyid told me, that Sahibu Hadal Amar told me. And amongst those titles they would use in Ghaybatul Sughra is An-Nahiyatul Muqaddasa. When you say Ziyaratul Nahiyatul Muqaddasa, in other words, you're saying that this is the ziyarah of the 12th Imam. And the fundamental importance of this ziyarah is that this ziyarah is one of the maqatil for Sayyid al-Shuhada. Many people, they ask us, is that how do we know what happened to Imam al-Hussein on the day of Ashura? One of the sources is the ziyarah. And many people have the misconception that this musibah of Sayyid al-Shuhada and these events, they were only narrated by the enemies of Ahlul Bayt or those who were employed by Banu Umayyah. That you look at somebody like Hamid bin Muslim. Hamid bin Muslim was a scribe for Banu Umayyah. But that doesn't mean that there were not loyalists of Ahlul Bayt who didn't recall and narrate Karbala. Because when you look at those who are loyal to Ahlul Bayt who recorded the events of Karbala, you find that they fall into three groups. Number one is that there were a group of companions who were with Imam al-Hussein, but they weren't martyred on the day of Ashura. There were certain companions. They went with Sayyid al-Shuhada, but they weren't martyred on the day of Ashura, and you find these companions would be from amongst the Ruwat of Karbala. For example, the first of these companions was an individual by the name of Uqba bin Sam'an or Aqaba bin Sam'an. Uqba bin Sam'an, according to the Maqatil, when you look at Abu Mikhnaf, oftentimes he narrates from Uqba bin Sam'an. Uqba bin Sam'an was the servant of Rabab, and he was with Imam al-Hussein from Medina until Karbala, and he would be one of the Ruwat and the narrators of Karbala. Another companion who wouldn't be martyred in Karbala, who would narrate this event, is an individual by the name of Ad-Dahaq al-Mashraqi. Ad-Dahaq al-Mashraqi, he told Imam al-Hussein that, "Oh Imam, I am with you as long as you have supporters. But the moment you are alone, my responsibility to you has ended." When the day of Ashura it came, and all the Shuhada were martyred, Imam al-Hussein is alone. Ad-Dahaq says to the Imam that, "Oh Imam, khalas, it's finished, you are alone." You know what the Imam says? If you want to look at the status of Sayyid al-Shuhada, the Imam doesn't say, "Stay with me." The Imam says, "Anta fi hillin min bayati," that you are absolved from my bay'ah and take one of my horses and leave this land of Karbala. So you find this individual, he wasn't an enemy of Ahlul Bayt, but he would be one of the Ruwat. Another person who would narrate Karbala, who was in Karbala but didn't die from the side of Imam al-Hussein, was an individual by the name of Muwaqqa bin Thumama al-Asadi or Murakka bin Thumama al-Asadi. You find this individual, he fought with Sayyid al-Shuhada, and the Maqatil, they say that his arm was cut and he fell unconscious on the ground of Karbala. As each of the tribes would behead the members of their own tribe to take to Ibn Ziyad, the tribe of Banu Asad noticed that this man was alive. So they took him as a prisoner to Ibn Ziyad. Ibn Ziyad says that you are free to go, but leave the land of Kufa. He would be one of the Ruwat. And the fourth person of those who went to Karbala but wasn't martyred amongst the companions was none other than Hassan ibn al-Hasan al-Mutanna. That today there are many Hassani Sadat. That where do these Hassani Sadat come from? They come from Hassan al-Mutanna, that he was wounded on the day of Ashura, but his maternal uncles, when they saw him wounded, they took him to the land of Kufa and he would survive after Karbala. So you find the first group of individuals who would narrate Karbala but weren't amongst those who were the enemies of Ahlul Bayt were those companions who weren't martyred. The second group are the women of Karbala. that Sayyida Zainab was alive after Karbala. And Kulthum and Rabab, each of them would be the Ruwat of Karbala. But the third group of individuals who would narrate the events of Karbala were the Imams of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam themselves. You know, many people ask the question that how do we know how many wounds were on the body of Sayyid al-Shuhada? That who was there to count the wounds on the body of Hussein? The reason we know is because Imam al-Sadiq told us. The reason we know is because Imam al-Baqir told us. The reason we know is that Imam Zainul Abidin would say that on the body of my father there was not so much as the spot of a stone of a ring that wasn't wounded on the body of Hussein. You know, forgive me, I didn't come to recite Masaib right now. But the majlis is over Ziyaratun Nahiya. That the majlis will include Masaib. So you find amongst these different traditions, the Imams would tell us the Masaib. You know, Imam al-Baqir has that famous tradition of when Dhul Jana returns to the tent. And Imam al-Baqir would say, Anna al-farasa ida aada ila al-khaymat. That when the horse of Imam al-Hussein returned to the tents, وَهُوَ يُنَادِي الدَّلِيمَةُ الدَّلِيمَ مِنْ أُمَّةٍ قَتَلَتْ إِبْنَ بِنْتِ نَبِيِّهَا. That woe be upon that ummah, that when Dhul Jana returned to the tent, Imam al-Baqir would narrate that Dhul Jana would say that woe be upon that ummah that killed the son of the daughter of the Prophet. So you find these musibah. The first group was those individuals who were the companions but they weren't martyred. The second were the women. But the third were the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, and amongst those Imams is Imam al-Zaman and Ziyaratun Nahiya. You see, Ziyaratun Nahiya solves some of the historical issues which the Maqatil couldn't solve. Because in the Maqatil, when it comes to the killer of Imam al-Hussein, it's written either Shimar killed Imam al-Hussein, or Sinan bin Anas killed Imam al-Hussein, or Khuli killed Imam al-Hussein, or Hussein bin Numair, the killer of Habib ibn Madair, was the killer of Sayyid al-Shuhada. But the question arises, is that how do we know that it was Shimar la'natullah alayhi who killed Sayyid al-Shuhada? We know because Imam al-Zaman, in Ziyaratun Nahiya, he says, وَالشِّمْرُ جَالِسٌ عَلَى صَدْرِكَ. That Shimar was sitting upon your chest. وَمُولِغٌ سَيْفَهُ عَلَى نَهْرِكَ. And he was moving his sword to slaughter you, O Hussein. شَيْبَةُ هِ قَابِدٌ عَلَى شَيْبَتِكَ بِيَدِهِ. And he had grabbed your beard, O Hussein. ذَابِعٌ لَكَ بِمُحَنَّدِهِ. And as he grabbed your beard, he took his dagger towards your neck, O Hussein. You see, the first importance of Ziyaratun Nahiya is that it solved many of the issues the Maqatil couldn't solve. But at the second level, there are many Masaib that we know only through Ziyaratun Nahiya. That no Maqtal mentions this Masaib, only Ziyaratun Nahiya mentions that Masaib. You know, amongst those Masaib is that every Maqtal wrote that after the Imam was killed, the body of Hussein was trampled. But in Ziyaratun Nahiya, Imam al-Zaman says, my grandfather was alive, the body of Hussein was being trampled. He says, Hatta nakasuka an jawadik. That, O Hussein, a point it came where you fell off your horse. Fahawaita ila al-ardi jarihan. And you were falling to the ground wounded, O Hussein. And the horses, they would trample your body with their hooves, O Hussein. You see, the Maqatil, they say that the women of Ahlul Bayt, their hands were tied with ropes. You've heard in Masaib that there was a metal chain on the neck of Zainul Abidin. In Ziyaratun Nahiya, we find one more Masaib. Ziyaratul Nahiya says that the arms of the women of Ahlul Bayt were also in metal chains. It wasn't just ropes on the arms of Zainab. It says, وَالصُّبْيَ كَالْعَبِيدِ, that these women, they were taken like servants. وَصُفِّدُوا فِي الْحَدِيدِ, and they were tied in hadid and in iron. If you want to see how descriptive Ziyaratul Nahiya is, Imam al-Zaman, he says, أَيْدِيهِمْ مَغْلُولَةٌ إِلَى الْأَعْنَاقِ يُطَافُ بِهِمْ الْأَسْوَاقِ. He says that when they tied the arms of these women, their arms were tied to their necks. That when that metal was there, these arms were tied to the necks of these women. You see, this masaib is only found in Ziyaratul Nahiya. But in the ways Ziyaratul Nahiya mentions masaib that aren't mentioned anywhere else, Ziyaratul Nahiya also mentions fadail of Sayyid al-Shuhada. You see, we have the misconception that Ziyaratul Nahiya is only masaib. But no, there are certain fadail of Imam al-Hussein that aren't mentioned anywhere else. For example, Imam al-Zaman, when he describes the fight of Sayyid al-Shuhada, he says, فَتَبَتَّ لِلطَّعْنِ وَالدَّرْبِ, that, O Hussein, in the midst of the arrows and the strikes, you remained and you maintained yourself. وَتَرَحَنْتَ جُنُودَ الْفُجَّارِ, and then you fought the armies of the transgressors. وَاقْتَحَمْتَ قَسْتَلَ الْغُبَارِ, and you went into the dust of the battlefield. مُجَالِدًا بِذِلْفِقَارِ, that in your hand was the Dhul-Fiqar. كَأَنَّكَ عَلِيٌّ الْمُخْتَارِ, and on that day you were fighting as if you were Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. In another line, Imam al-Zaman, he said, وَقَدْ عَجِبَتْ مِنْ صَبْرِكَ مَلَائِكَةُ السَّمَاوَاتِ. Oh Hussein, you are the one that even the angels did ta'ajjub over your sabr, O Hussein. As-salamu ala man iftakhara bihi Jibra'il. O Hussein, you are the one that Jibra'il would take pride in. As-salamu ala man naghahu fil mahdi Mika'il. Hussein, you are the one that when you were in the cradle, Mika'il would whisper to you, O Hussein. After that you say, As-salamu ala man ja'ala Allahu shifa'a fi turbate. Oh Hussein, you are the one that Allah put shifa and cure within your dust, O Hussein. You see, many people, they ask this question, why is it that when one who has ma'rifah approaches khaq shifa, that person is healed? And the one who doesn't have respect or ma'rifah, it has no athar upon his body. That at the end of the day, this is a physical reality. I say, when you look in the Quran in the story of Yusuf, when Yusuf was the economic minister of Egypt, and Yaqub had become blind from separation, the brothers, they go to Yusuf, and Yusuf, he says, take my shirt, فَأَذْهَبُوا بِقَمِيسِ هَذَا فَأَلْقُوهُ عَلَى وَجْهِ أَبِي يَعْطِي بَصِيرًا. That take my shirt and put it upon the face of my father, his vision will come back. You know, the Quran says, the moment the brothers took the shirt, there were certain brothers that remained with Yaqub. At that moment, Yaqub said, I smell the shirt of Yusuf. I say, Yusuf is in Egypt. Yaqub is in Palestine. Smell is a physical reality. How is it that Yaqub smelled the fragrance, Yusuf's brothers didn't smell the fragrance? It's because Yaqub had ma'rifat of Yusuf, and those brothers didn't have ma'rifat of Yusuf. At that moment, the issue of khaq shifa was solved. Those who have ma'rifah of Hussein, you find it impacts those individuals, those who don't have ma'rifah of Hussein. You see, in Tariq al-Tabari, there's many examples that those who would loot from the body of Sayyid al-Shuhada, when they would take the shirt of the Imam, or the ring of the Imam, those people would have an adab and a punishment come upon them. But when Imam al-Rida gives Di'bal al-Khuzai his shirt and his kurta, Imam al-Rida, you find that shirt is given to Di'bal. Di'bal takes one thread from that shirt, he places it upon the eye of his servant gains vision back. You see, on one side, it is the shirt of an Imam that those people took. On the other side, Imam al-Rida is giving a shirt. But the Quran says, كُلَّ يَوْمٍ هُوَ فِي شَأْنٍ, that the signs of God manifest at every moment in different measures. The difference between Di'bal and that group is that Di'bal had ma'rifah of Sayyid al-Shuhada, and that other group didn't have ma'rifah. As-salamu ala man ja'ala Allahu shifa'a fi turbate, as-salamu ala man al-ijabatu tahta qubbate. That salam be upon the one that their du'as are answered under the dome of Hussein. You know, they said to Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari, they asked him about this ziyarah. They said, "Oh Sheikh, there were times in history when the dome of Hussein was destroyed. And there were times in history when the dome wasn't there. At that time, were the du'as answered as well?" Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari says that when you say, "As-salamu ala man ja'ala Allahu al-ijabatu tahta qubbate," you're not referring to that physical dome and qubba. But when it comes to Hussein, Allah has placed a qubba in a dome of noor over the grave of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And under that qubba, du'as are answered. Then Sheikh Ja'far Shushtari says that when you come to the majlis of Hussein, كَأَنَّكَ تَحْتَ قُبَّةَ الْحُسَيْنِ, it's as if you are under the qubba of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And in the way du'as are answered in the haram of the Imam, du'as are answered in the majlis of the Imam. You see, I'm coming to the end of my time. You see, many people, they ask the question that is Ziyaratul Nahiya authentic? Is Ziyaratul Nahiya something we can rely upon? You find there's a number of replies that you can give towards these individuals. The first reply that you give is that it is something which has gained shuhra and popularity amongst the latter ulama. The second reply is that Muhammad ibn Mashhadi in his book Al-Mazarul Kabir, he records Ziyaratul Nahiya, but he doesn't mention the sanad. But when he doesn't mention the sanad, he says that everything I record in this book I am taking from authentic narrators. The third dalil you give is that Sheikh Kashiful Ghita, the famous alim in Najaf, he even relied on Ziyaratul Nahiya in issuing fatwas and legal rulings. And number four, you find that Sayyid al-Murtada would encourage his students to recite Ziyaratul Nahiya. But over here, there's many questions that come up. Because in Ziyaratul Nahiya, there are certain lines that when you look at the outward of these lines, they seem like a contradiction. For example, in Ziyaratul Nahiya, you say, "As-salamu ala man dafanahu ahlul qura," that, "O Hussein, salam be upon the one whom the people of the village buried you." You see, we in the school of Ahlul Bayt, we have traditions that say only an imam buries an imam. For example, when Ali ibn Hamza al-Bataini comes to Imam al-Rida and he says, "O Imam, who will bury you after you die? Your son is in Medina." The Imam says, "O Ali ibn Hamza al-Bataini, Zainul Abidin wasn't in Karbala, but Zainul Abidin left Karbala and he was not seen. He left Kufa, he was not seen, and he made it to Karbala." I say on the night of Hijrat, when they surrounded the house of Rasulullah, and all night they were looking at the house of Rasulullah, Rasulullah made it outside of the house. I say Zainul Abidin is the son of Rasulullah. This is the reality of Zainul Abidin. But you find we have this principle. Only an imam buries an imam. But on the other side, Ziyaratul Nahiya says that the people of the village buried Imam al-Hussein. You see, in Usul al-Fiqh, we have a principle that in establishing evidence does not negate another establishing evidence all the time. For example, if I say that Ali is within the mosque, this doesn't mean that Muhammad, Ja'far and a million other people aren't in the mosque. All I said is one person is there. This doesn't mean that others aren't there. When this ziyarah says, As-salamu ala man dafanahu ahlul qura, every historian has acknowledged Banu Asad was in Karbala. That if they helped with the burial, they took part in the burial. But we say the one who led the burial, the one who placed the body in the ground is Imam Zainul Abidin. There is no contradiction. Another line they point towards is that when you look at Ziyaratul Nahiya, the line that speaks about the women after the martyrdom of Imam al-Hussein, that line it says, فَبَرَزْنَا مِنَ الْخُدُورِ نَاشِرَاتِ الشُّعُورِ, that these women, when they left the tents, their hair was open. And it says, al-wujuhi safirat, and their faces were unveiled. They say that this ziyarah is saying that the women of Ali Muhammad, they unveiled their hair and they left the tent. That does this not contradict the status of Sayyida Zainab? That Sayyida Zainab, out of her own free will, would she unveil her hair? You see, there's a number of replies. The first reply is this, is that when you understand Shab-e Ashur, Imam al-Hussein said to the companions that dig a trench behind the tents and bring all of the tents together and surround your tents in front of the tents of the women. If the women left the tent, they would be in another tent. They wouldn't be in front of the army of Umar bin Saad. But a second answer that was given is that their hair was disheveled under the khimar and the makna. The makna is the hair veil that goes over the hair. That it was covered, but it was under the makna. The third answer that was given is that this isn't referring to Banu Hashim. This is referring to the Ansar. But you find the fourth answer that's been given is that this is something which is an expression of sorrow. It is a kinaya. It's not something which is literal. And you find each of these answers, whichever one you go with, show there is no theological issue in Ziyaratul Nahiya. Because Ziyaratul Nahiya is that ziyarah, as I said, the Imam, he says, فَلَا أَنْدُبَنَّكَ صَبَاحًا وَمَسَاءً, that, oh Hussein, every morning, every evening I cry for you. وَلَا أَبْكِيَنَّ لَكَ بَدَلَ الدُّمُوءِ دَمَاءً. Oh Hussein, I don't cry regular tears, I cry tears of blood for you. The Imam in Ziyaratul Nahiya, he says, salam be upon the cut neck of Hussein, and salam be upon the blood-covered chest of Hussein. As-salamu ala shafa'id dabilat, salam be upon the dried lips of Hussein. And salam be upon those teeth of Hussein, that the army of Umar bin Saad, they would take their sticks and their asa and they would hit upon the teeth of Hussein. At one point, Imam al-Zaman, he says, As-salamu ala niswat al-bariza, salam be upon the women of Hussein. You see, after Karbala, the lineage of Zainab was cut in Karbala. There was no one to call Zainab mother after Karbala. If Imam al-Zaman is there, he sends his salam upon his aunt Zainab. You know the masaib of Zainab. If you understand this one line, it's enough for masaib. You know, every masaib that you've cried over, you listen to that masaib. Somebody narrated that masaib. Zainab is the one that she didn't listen to Karbala. Zainab with her eyes would watch Karbala. You know, in front of Sayyid al-Khui, somebody was reciting the Masaib of Sayyida Zainab. And when that person was reciting the Masaib, after the Masaib, Sayyid al-Khui, he stood up. He said, "Oh man, you forgot one musibah." The man says, "Oh Sayyid, what musibah did I forget?" Sayyid al-Khui says, "You didn't mention that when the day of Ashura began, the hair of Zainab was black. But when the day of Ashura finished, the hair of Zainab had become white." You see, the day which just passed was the first of Sham. The first of Sham was that day when the women of Ahlul Bayt, the first of Safar was that day when the women of Ahlul Bayt, they entered Sham. Imam Zainul Abidin, he records in Bihar al-Anwar, there is a tradition. Imam Zainul Abidin, he says that when they were taking us to Sham, we were upon camels that had no saddles upon them. In front of us was the head of Hussein. All sides from us was that army which would point arrows towards us. The moment we would cry, they would take those arrows and they would hit us with those arrows. Kulthum, she narrates that when we came to the door of Sham, I'll narrate slowly, I don't have energy to recite. When we came to the door of Sham, for 9 hours we stood at the door of Sham. And then she says that when we came to Sham, Shimar, he takes the head of Imam al-Hussein, he hangs the head of Imam al-Hussein on the door of Sham. At that moment, Kulthum, she says, "Ya Rasulullah, hada rasu habibak al-Hussein." That, "Oh Rasulullah, this is the head of Hussein, hada rasu habibak al-Hussein masluban ya Rasulullah." Now what the riwayah it says? The riwayah it says that when Kulthum, she said this, Rafa'a Shimar yadahu, that Shimar, he raises his hands, walatamaha ala wajhiha, that he takes his hand and he strikes That Sham, Imam al-Baqir, he says that when we entered Sham, people would throw rocks at us within the bazaar of Sham. And he says people from the top of their homes, they would pour boiling waters upon us in Sham. And he says, as I was looking at my father, a point it came when the turban of my father was on fire. You know, when they were in Sham, there was a companion of Rasulullah by the name of Sal bin Sa'd al-Sa'idi. Sal bin Sa'd, he says, then I went to Sham, I saw Zainul Abidin. I said, "Oh man, I am the companion of your grandfather. Is there anything I can do for you?" The Imam says, "Oh Sal, grab me a piece of cloth." Sal says, "I don't know why this man wanted a piece of cloth." He says, "When I brought that cloth," he takes that cloth, he places it in the chain within his neck. Imam Sajjad says, "Oh Sal, from Kufa to Sham, this metal has been burning my..." I've left the Masayib. I've left the Musibah. I know you can't handle the Masayib of Sham. You see, when Ahlul Bayt were freed from Sham, Imam Zainul Abidin said, "Oh Yazid, the first thing we want is a house to mourn in. And oh Yazid, the second thing we want is all of those tabarrukat and those items you took. We want all of those items back." You see, when they were in that house, the first thing which came back was an alam. The moment that flag it came, all of the women began to say, "Wa Abbasa." You know, after that, a kurta it comes. That shirt was covered in blood. Zainab says, this is the shirt of my brother Hussein. The riwayat says, after that a ringgit comes back. You know which ring that was? When Mukhtar, he catches Bajdal, Mukhtar, he says, oh Bajdal, what did you do on the day of Ashura? Bajdal says everyone was looting the body of Hussein. Somebody would take the amama of Hussein. Somebody would take the cloak of Hussein. I saw on the hand of Hussein was a ring. When I tried to pull that ring wouldn't come off. I took my dagger. I cut the finger of Hussein. After that, it stated in the riwayah, 2 earrings they come back. When those earrings they come, all of the women, they looked at Rabab. The one, ala la'natullah lil qawm al-zalim. Ya Allah, we ask to the musibah of Ahlul Bayt. As all of the heads were coming, Layla would take the head of Ali Akbar, and Kulthum would take the head of Abbas. It stated at that point, a head of a 6-month infant, it comes out. When Rabab looks at that head, she says, Ya Asghar, Amitluka Tunhar. Oh Ali Asghar, did they slaughter children like, oh Ali Asghar. In our tradition, we slaughter animals. We don't slaughter children. We ask through the musibah of Rabab. Wherever the followers of Ahlul Bayt are in difficulty, help them. Wherever they're sick and ailing, cure them. Ya Allah, grant us the shafa'ah of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Grant us the ziyarah of Sayyid al-Shuhada. And allow us to see the zuhur of Imam al-Hujjah Matam al-Hussein.
Hussein, Hussein. Hussein, Hussein.
Oh, come, let us learn how to live like Ali, to live like Ali and to die like Hussein, to live as a servant of Allah alone, to struggle for justice until you are slain. The gate of the city of knowledge, Ali, he learned from Muhammad and showed how to be. He learned from Muhammad and showed how to be. He died protecting that knowledge, Hussein, so teachings of prophets would not go in vain. Oh, come, let us learn how to live like Ali, to live like Ali and to die like Hussein, to live as a servant of Allah alone, to struggle for justice until you are slain. When no one would answer the call of Nabi, the people would witness the sword of Ali. The people would witness the sword of Ali. And now like a mountain before tyranny, standing alone is the fearless Hussein. Oh, come, let us learn how to live like Ali, to live like Ali and to die like Hussein, to live as a servant of Allah alone, to struggle for justice until you are slain. He gave his zakah in ruku of salah, for such is the bounty of Mushkil Kusha, for such is the bounty of Mushkil Kusha, and quenching the thirst of the army of Hur. are sons of Ali and the sons of Hussein. Oh, come, let us learn how to live like Ali, to live like Ali and to die like Hussein, to live as a servant of Allah alone, to struggle for justice until you are slain. So patiently waited the chosen Wasi to keep it united, the community, to keep it united, the community. With 72 sacrifices and more, oh, what can we say of the Sabr of Hussein? Oh, come, let us learn how to live like Ali, to live like Ali and to die like Hussein, to live as a servant of Allah alone, to struggle for justice until you are slain. We can never be like Hussein or Ali, so this Ya Ilahi is then our plea. So this Ya Ilahi is then our plea. Grant us the footsteps of Qambar Qumer, of Ibn Mazahir and John of Hussein. Oh, come, let us learn how to live like Ali, to live like Ali and to die like Hussein, to live as a servant of Allah alone, to struggle for justice until you are slain.
Hussein, 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 Hussein. The savior of Islam is Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. The savior of Islam is Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. The savior of Islam is Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Akbar and Asghar have been sacrificed. Qasim and Abbas have both been lost, defending the deen of Muhammad. You have sacrificed your house, Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. The savior of Islam is Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Fatima Zahra continued weeping. They cut your throat despite your mother's crying. Atop the spear your severed head kept calling. The call of truth and righteousness, Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. The savior of Islam is Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. Now we get the honor of your mourning. What a great blessing have we received. Now we gain respect with your matam. Zahra is praying for us, Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. The savior of Islam is Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. These majlises have been support for us whenever sadness has afflicted us, ridding ourselves of all tragedies. Humbly and faithfully we call Hussein. Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein. The savior of Islam is Imam Hussein. Ya Hussein, 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 Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad.